Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Satan and Coffee. I hope everyone's doing well. Good to see everybody. So, as we usually hail, Maeve, hail. We usually begin. We begin with me bitching about something. Right? That's where we're gonna start. We're going to start with Atius Dade bitching and complaining about something because apparently Atius Dade likes to bitch and complain, and according to some people, apparently that makes me a bitch. I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently it is. But what we're going to start with, and this is a new thing that's been irritating the fuck out of me. These incessant jackasses that come into the comment section that feel the necessity to announce their career path like it's supposed to make me want to read their comment any more than I already do, which is not at all. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, like on social media. Like, I mean, you run into these motherfuckers in Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, people are like, doctor here, career whatever the fuck here, right? And like, I got one the other day. Here, hold on, let me pull this fuckwad up, yeah. All right, give me a second. Oh, wait, that's off. There we go. All right. So I got one of these jackasses the other day, and I was so inclined to answer, but like, let's see here. Let's see. Right here. Yeah, right here. So the comment's not bad, but the necessity to sit there, like, because the thing is like, you read the comment and it's just, was it really necessary to put it into the comment? Because as a former private investigator, it's like, get the fuck out of here, gumshoe. Fucking hell. Right? You know, like, yeah, exactly. Like, it's just like, you know, that whole segment could have been left out. Right? That whole segment could have been left out. And it was the whole anima thing, right? So it's not a bad comment, but that part of it just irritates the fuck out of me, right? Because it says here, because so a trusted voice within the occult current, right? They're talking about my my comment regarding anima Neora. And who exactly is this trusted voice? Because as a former private investigator, there's nothing but holes in the circumstances of her supposed death. It's like, shut the fuck up, man. Right? Like, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Really? It's just, shit like that just fucking irritates me. But people do this shit all the time. They do it all the fucking time. Right? Like, they go into comment sections, right? And they're like, pediatrician here, doctor here, medical professional here. And that's the worst one, right? Is when they do like such like a general like idea of what they might do. Medical professional. I mean, psychiatrist and a psychologist are medical professionals, right? You know, a foot doctor is a medical professional. You know, it's just things like that, like, just irritate the fuck out of me. They just really do, right? Oh, and then some jackass original origin stories came in, right? He goes, not even the mic wants to hear this guy talk. I thought this was a metal music stream. Like apparently, you can't read the fucking description. Fucking basehead, right? Based off the 10-minute intro. Again, read, motherfucker. Read. Can you read? Do you have the ability to read? Right? Like Satan and Coffee, the myth of enlightenment. Full description on talking about the occult. I thought that this was a metal music stream based on the 10-minute intro. You fucking idiot. Right? I tried to give it a chance, but he struck out almost instantly. Right? I'm trying to listen to you, bro, but you have so much dead air and you get all ASMR at times. I can't do it. Well, then good. I don't fucking want you here. I don't fucking want you here, you dipshit. Like, I don't want people that are incapable of reading a fucking title and description. You could have saved yourself a lot of time, and you can't do it, but you took the time to write a comment. Oh. So yeah. Oh. Self remove and block, always good, right? Exactly. Like it's just right. Like, am I supposed to explain this shit to you? Like as soon as the intro starts, like there's a reason why there is a title and a description. And I would like to think that I am very detailed in my descriptions and the titles of the shows. I mean, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But, in what we're talking about. If you took, it would have taken less time for this person to read the title and the description than it would have for them to watch whatever they watched of the show and leave a comment. They could have read the description. Oh, nope, I'm not interested in that. And going on to the next thing. And guess what? Yes, I do get very ASMR at times because I am the golden voice of Satan. And yes, there is dead air because I prefer to think about what it is that I'm saying before I fucking say it. It's a live show, you dumbass. So yeah, and now I'm just curious because I haven't actually looked at this person's channel. Right. Original origin stories, The Beggar and Stardust God Killer. Rebranding, new stories and cosmics coming soon. One video posted 4 years ago, 10 subscribers. Right. Okay. So yeah, okay. Got to start somewhere, I guess, right? Apparently, simulation that they want me to hold their hand through fucking everything. Apparently. Anyway, the subject now. Thank you for listening to me rant. Because that's my favorite part of Satan and Coffee is being able to bitch and complain about the shit that bothers me. That they think they are the center of things and what they think matters to all, right? Exactly. No, but the thing is that they catch this live. Chances are they'll probably end up coming back and be like, oh, well, I live in your head rent free because you talked about me on your stream. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. I'm bitching. I'm complaining. It's what I like to do. It's what I'm doing. Leave me the fuck alone. You don't live in my head. The only reason I thought of mentioning it is because of the fact that we were talking about comments. So, yeah. That's it. So, now, moving on. to the subject, which is something that I've been meaning to talk about for a while. And I haven't, because a lot of people have videos on this subject. Hope y'all got your coffee. I'm still rocking pumpkin spice. Fuck Christmas blends. It's still pumpkin spice season until I say so. Who wants a coffee that tastes like a fucking evergreen? I know. So this is a subject that I've been wanting to talk about. Not the coffee, by the way. Subject matter. Go. For a while. And kind of avoided it only because a lot of people go the hardcore fantasy route with this shit. And like it's a mentality that I kind of don't want to deal with. Right? Thank you. Thank you, Maeve. God, that was fucking weird. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Okay, so the subject that we're going to be talking about is Astral Combat. Okay. So I mean, I have Tim Hortons cocoa. So if you're talking like hot chocolate, I got Tim Hortons in the cabinet, and Tim Hortons is kind of like the shit down here. So, and I also have chai. Good morning, Tree Sap. So yeah, so we're going to be talking about Astral Combat, right? So first and foremost, we need to define what the fuck Astral Combat is and isn't in this, conversation. Okay. So I'm not talking about psychic dueling in the fantasy sense, right? So true Astral Combat is will versus intrusion, right? So it's a clash of psychic and integrity. It's the assertion of self against parasitic forces, thought forms, or manipulators, right? So the right-hand path externalizes protection, so call upon angels, right? And the left-hand path internalizes it, become the angel and become and the demon, right? So he who masters himself is the only one fit to master spirits. That's from Michael Ford, okay? So the reality of the astral field, or how I view it at the very least, right? So the astral isn't an alternate world. It's a layered consciousness. How I look at it. Okay. And with quite a bit of the stuff that I've read, I mean, there's a bit back. Right? Maeve, stay on top of the chat, please. Get rid of these dickweeds. Oh, thank you, Tree Sap. Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be one of those mornings. I started too late. They're awake. So, yeah, they are. Definitely. So I don't see the astral plane. So, like, if you look at somebody like Melinda, right? And for once, I'm not taking a jab at her. I'm just using her because she has a very distinct perspective on what the astral is, and it's a similar perspective that many people have on the astral plane. Is that the astral plane is like a different plane of existence, right? It's another plane of reality. And from everything that I have experienced and everything that I have researched, it's not inherently another world, right? Writing queries. Oh, okay. It's all good. It's all good, Maeve. 1,800 years in hell. Yeah. Okay, now. Literally. So it's a layered consciousness. It's another level of our own consciousness, our own being. Okay. So conflict manifests where attention and emotion intersect. Okay. So it's in a sense that the conflict on the astral field happens with intrusion to our emotional being. That's usually where it starts, right? That's the top layer, right? So we can create somewhat of a scientific parallel if we look at Jung's concept of the psychic field, which it aligns with the astral plane and esoteric theory, right? So energy exchange as a metaphor for projection and influence, okay? So Jung even has talked about the idea of something that when we look at it, it sounds very akin to the astral plane. And what the Jungian concept was the psychic field, right? So every act of will, ritual, art, confrontation is astral warfare in miniature. Okay. So to go further, here, I'm going to pull up some more notes here. Give me a quick second here, guys. Okay. I just need to find them. Like, if you guys saw my OneNote, my OneNote is disgusting. Right? So, bear with me, guys. So right now what I'm doing is I'm going through all of my notes and I'm looking through. I had more written down for Jung and I want to get more of that. Because when we look at the Jungian aspect of things, sorry about that. God damn. Jung does a really good job explaining this and talking about it. So oh, I can't find it, guys. Bear with me. No more, no less. What, to 1,800 years in hell? Yeah, right. So, as somebody that suffers with ADHD, when I take notes, like in the moment as I'm taking notes, I feel like I'm doing a very good job at organizing my notes. but then very quickly find out that, like, after the fact, I did a very shit job taking notes. Spiral warfare? Do you mean spiritual warfare? Is that what you're talking about? No, it is real. It is 100% real. But here's the thing, right? So here's the thing, right? Here we go. So again, just to kind of like break down, right? So Jung never said astral plane, right? So, but with the psychic fields, right, it serves the same function. It's the total energetic environment created by conscious and unconscious processes, your emotions, archetypes, and memories forming a living ecosystem, right? So how this mapped out for me with occultism is, for example, in Hermetic and Luciferian systems, the astral is the subtle layer of existence shaped by thought and emotion. It's the imaginative matter. Right? Crowley talked about it. Jung's psychic field describes the same structure through psychology, the personal unconscious, your internal energies, interacting with the collective unconscious, shared archetypal space, right? When occultists enter the astral, they're shifting awareness into this psychic continuum, right? So it's a shift of focus, attention, right? A shift of attention, right? So the Jungian model is personal unconscious, collective unconscious, archetype, and active imagination. Esoteric equivalence to this is lower astral, personal energetic sphere, upper or shared astral, egregoric field, right? Entity, God form, thought form, astral projection, and vision work, right? So we find parallels within Jungian psychology to esoteric systems, right? So when we work ritual or experience an attack, we're not leaving our body and sword fighting ghosts, right? I mean, and unfortunately, this is what most people fucking think of when they think of like astral warfare, right? Or astral combat. You're moving through this psychic field, encountering condensed symbols and emotions, right? So the collective unconscious consists of pre-existent forms, the archetype, which can only become conscious secondarily from Jung's archetypes and the collective unconscious. This is the same as saying the astral exists or you notice it, right? We aren't a passive soul drifting through this, right? We generate part of that field, right? Every magician is a local distortion of reality. So we strengthen our field and the astral conforms around us instead of swallowing us whole. Right? Now, energy exchange as projection and influence, right? Everything that happens on the astral is exchange, tension, emotion, will. Energy isn't electricity, it's focus, intention, and vitality. When we direct thought towards someone or something, we create a current. Okay, so projection in psychological translation, projection is assigning your internal state onto an external object or person, right? The influence is the receiving side of that projection, consciously or unconsciously absorbing it, right? So projection, influence, right? So how that becomes energy work, when someone is obsessed with you, you feel it because consciousness transmits microsignals, nonverbal, emotional, sometimes precognitive. Okay. In ritual, you amplify projection through symbolism and focus until it's a deliberate influence instead of accidental. Right. So, an example of this could be you visualize someone's image, feel anger, send it through will. That's projection. They later feel uneasy, think of you, or dream of confrontation. That's influence. The same mechanics govern love, fear, and admiration. Astral combat is simply conflict between overlapping projections. Right? So, this is what I'm talking about when we talk about astral combat. That's what we're dealing with, right? It is a combination back and forth, right, of the projection and influence going back and forth. Here's the thing, right? You ever do a spell or a ritual to, in an attempt to in an attempt to do something, do whatever, right? Like you do a ritual and you send out everything you've got and nothing seems to happen. So if there's a reason why, like, for example, like with love spells and love rituals and things like that, usually they work significantly, have a higher, almost guaranteed level of working if there's already some kind of connection between you and the other person, right? The reason for that is because if somebody truly doesn't care, if they truly don't give a shit, right? Or they've never met you, or they've never seen you before, or anything like that, the energy that you're sending is just going to go right through them and past them. Right? There is a level of necessity to have some level of connection to the target that you're projecting to, right? And unfortunately, people have this Hollywood idea that they can send this energy out and it just does what they want them to do. Like, so if you're in spiritual, or if you're in astral combat, both of you are thinking about each other like all the fucking time, right? Because you're projecting back and forth, right? You're creating this constant intrusion going back and forth. Okay. So everything that irritates us about others can lead us to the understanding of ourselves. That's Carl Jung, right? So in practice, that irritation is the moment your energy and the other person's collides. So usually the things that irritate us about other people are things that irritate us about ourselves, but we don't want to admit that. That irritation is that energy collision, that similarity, that polarity, right? Of similarity coming towards each other, right? It's like if you got a negative, it's away like a magnet, right? That field, right? That's what we're talking about, right? So in Luciferian application, master projection by controlling emotion before releasing it. Refuse influence by grounding and detaching from emotional hooks. That's important. This is truly, this is chef's kiss important here, guys. Refuse influence by grounding and detaching from emotional hooks. You can completely bypass anything that anyone is trying to do to you if you don't give in to the emotional hooks that occur when projection begins. You can avoid the influence completely by actively refusing it. Every interaction is energetic negotiation. Sovereignty means conscious participation in it. Okay? So, like a short rule set, right? Attention equals energy. Emotion gives it charge. Intention gives it direction. And repetition gives it form. So, attention is energy. We're paying attention. Somebody's paying attention to us. That's energy. Attention. Where's your focus? That's your energy, right? Emotion gives the attention charge. It gives it oomph, power, right? So you do a ritual, you change your focus, right, to the astral, right? You reform that. You're doing a ritual that has an emotional significance to you, right? That gives it charge. Then you give it intention, what you want that emotional energy and charge do. So you focus your intention, that gave it direction, what we're doing, and then we repeat, right? Repetition gives it form, right? And when we repeat, I'm not saying repeat like over the course of days, but there's a reason why, like when we do ritual, we usually come up with some sort of mantra as the spell, and we repeat that shit over and 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 over again. Repetition gives it form, right? So the left-hand path magician learns to own both sides, to send without leaking and to receive without absorption. That balance is the heart of astral warfare and the birth of true psychic discipline. Okay, so again, this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, but I have avoided the shit out of this subject because of how people perceive it, right? And the stuff that people talk about, right? So now we've defined astral combat, right? We've defined what it is. Now, what's the function, the reality of the astral field, right? So in concept, the astral is the inner field of consciousness layered through will, emotion, and imagination. So the astral plane is the medium through which magical energy travels. It is both psychological and metaphysical. Mind is transmitter, energy as wave, right? So Crowley referred to it as the plastic medium of the magician's imagination. The left-hand path uses it as a crucible of confrontation and creation. Okay? So the human brain converts imagination into neuroelectric activity. Ritual amplifies this through sensory engagement, right? So every dream of being chased, attacked, or tested is a form of astral combat. Every ritual where you face fear or resistance, you engage the astral body. Okay? So energy follows thought. That's a Hermetic axiom. The mind is its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. Milton, right? You weaponize the mind, you learn to hold focus like a blade. Right? And that's the left-hand path direction with that. Okay. So the next part, again, packs and preparation. Right. And so when we say packs, right? I'm not talking about like packs with demons, right? That's not what we're discussing. That's not what we're talking about. Right. So when I say packs, it's almost like kind of like it's a deeper understanding, right, of when we're dealing with this. Okay. So preparation determines victory, right? So the underground magician is a bleeding wound in the astral plane. Okay. So what I would do is I would focus on 3 points: grounding, clarity, and depth. Those are the 3 points that I would focus on. If you know that you're going to have to go into some type of astral conflict, and again, this is not, we're not talking about, I know like saying astral conflict, astral battle, astral war, like this invokes images of like fucking The Witcher's wild hunt, right? Before The Witcher went completely to shit. Just putting that out there. I just want to put that out there. The Witcher ended with season 3. No one else deserves to play The Witcher other than Henry Cavill. I'm just going to put that out there. None of us asked for Emu Thor to play Geralt. So sorry. And Liam, like I understand it's not your fault, but you are. You're Temu Thor. And having you play The Witcher, it just makes me have visions of Thor at a BDSM party. That's it. And to the showrunner, you're a fucking idiot. You had literally the magical fucking sauce to make something that would have gone so far in the history of TV cinema, and you spit in its face and then shat on its grave. And and the worst part about it is the showrunner is so fucking oblivious to how, even Netflix in general is just completely fucking oblivious to how much they royally fucked up. like the dislike comments. So people have like this little extension that they can put on YouTube, and they can see the dislike comments. So apparently like the dislikes on the trailer for this fucking thing was like over 200 something thousand, right? It's just like, yeah, I mean, that was the whole basis of Cavill, right? Right? You know, like Cavill, you know, he's like, no, we stick to the source material and I'll be your actor. Right? We respect the source material. And the whole reason he took it was because he wanted them to respect the source material. And they even had the fucking writer of the books there. Like, I mean, I saw a short clip of him. Like they asked him, like, you know, did you give them any, you know, pointers or any, you know, advice? He's like, all the time, but they never listen to me. And it's like, you had the creator of the books, the writer right there with you, the visionary that created this entire world. And you're like, no, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, motherfucker, you wouldn't have a show to make without him. Fuck's sake. Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, like the first season was amazing. The second season dropped like the momentum a little bit, but I still think it was good. The third season just got fucking confusing. And from the looks of it, I've only seen the trailer for the fourth season. I'm rewatching it, by the way. I have the second season right now. And I've seen the trailer for the fourth season. I'm just like, that's not That's not Geralt. And the fact that it's the TV show called The Witcher, and that apparently there's an episode in the 4th season that doesn't even have The Witcher in it, because the entire focus has gone on all of the sorceresses, like Ciri, Yennefer, like it's just focused on them, and it's like, you should have just killed it, Netflix. You fucked up. You dropped the ball. Henry Cavill bounced. Like, exactly. Well, the problem happens with stuff like that. Like, when like they take something and they want to create it like that already exists, that has a fan base, and then what they want to do is they want to do their own thing with it because they don't have any original fucking ideas, right? I'm sure the concepts and ideas that they're coming up with would be fucking amazing as a standalone show. Like if they created a completely different show, not related to The Witcher, but using these ideas and concepts, they probably could make something pretty decent. But taking something that has a pre-existing fan base and a very high expectation of what it's supposed to be, and then trying to turn it into something completely different that has nothing to do with what the fan base understands, it's like, the only people that are going to fucking watch this are the people that have read the books and played the video game. You're trying to turn it into something that's going to cater to people that have never played the video game and have no interest in reading the books. Exactly. Stop twisting the story to reflect how you see the world, right? Exactly. You know, I had no problem. Like, I know a lot of people had a problem with like the visuals of the actors and shit like that. Like Yennefer not being, you know, like fucking Snow White. I personally didn't have an issue with that. Like, I mean, I think that the actors and actresses that they got were very good actors and actresses. I think the writers part, they were just given really shit writing. Like, to be completely honest, in this particular case, I don't have an inherent issue with the actors and actresses that they chose. I really don't. Because they have managed to get some really good people. But the writing is shit. And twisting away from the source material so blatantly and disrespectfully is disgusting. Right? So would I have liked to see, you know, more book accurate, you know, representations of the people in the stories? Yes, 100%. Right? It's how the author envisioned it. But as long as the actors are good, because my problem is like when they try to switch something up and then they get a shit actor to do it, it just falls flat in its face. At least they got that one part right where they did get decent actors. But yeah, no, it's I don't know. I'm watching this. I'm in the 2nd season right now. Don't know if Dyra go in and watch the season. We might just for the laughs and to make fun of it. But I'm kind of disappointed. I'm actually really sad to not see Henry Cavill in it and to see the direction that they're going. So anyway, back to Astral Combat. But yeah, the whole Witcher thing, God, that pissed me off. Anyway. Okay. Where were we? So we did the function. So as we were talking about just now. So now we're in the packs and the preparation. So the 3 points that I think need to be focused on in any form of astral combat is grounding, clarity, and depth. Now, the way that I would go about this is I would focus on grounding, Belial. Establish physical and psychological stability. Visualization of roots of obsidian anchoring into the earth. Affirmation, I am unmovable. No current sways my will. Something along those lines, right? I'm just pulling the shit out of my ass, or I had the shit out of my ass and wrote it. clarity, Lucifer, illuminate, motive, right? Why do I engage? Ego, defense, or curiosity, right? Why am I engaging with this? To see is to conquer, right? The Luciferian maxim. Okay. Depth, Leviathan, right? Submerge emotion and reclaim control. To do that, I would look at meditation in dark silence, water scrying, or even mirror gazing, right? So, ritual formula, just an example. So, black candle, mirror, your sigil drawn on paper, ash, whatever you want to use. I am a big proponent for every occultist, every black magician to have their own sigil. If you do not have one, look into doing that. Maybe I'll do an episode on making your own sigil, and you can do there's multiple ways that you can do this, right? So some people like to do the whole name thing, drop the vowels, and then do the weird jaggedy line shit. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. Just understand that it's not 100% accurate to you all the time. There are pitfalls with those. So there are other methods that I use for sigil creation when creating a sigil for myself or others. But I do suggest that all black magicians definitely look into creating their own sigil, your sigil, your power, your representation of power. Right? Breath control is another important thing in this, right? So inhale power, exhale fear, this type of concept, right? So breath control, breath exercises, very important. Same thing, like any type of discipline, like especially physical discipline, like if you're working out, if you're a runner, anything like that, breathing is extremely important. Fighting, right? Boxing, MMA, right? Breathing is important, right? We understand this, right? If you've taken any type of self-defense courses or any type of martial art, you understand that one of the core aspects of martial arts is breathing, right? Breath control. Any type of combat, breath control is extremely important. This is no different in Astral Combat. And again, talking about Astral Combat, we're not talking about going to some other world and donning on armor and, lifting up a sword or a staff and getting into fantasy-based combat. Like the visuals help. We can use those visuals in our mind, but that's not actually what we're doing. Okay. Speaking aloud. Another important thing. So a lot of the times when I'm in ritual, I do a lot of the stuff in my head. In Astral Combat, I do feel that it is important, or even Astral defense. It's extremely important to speak your declarations of sovereignty loud before working. Okay. The psychological layer on this. Okay. The ritual act triggers neural priming, right? You're conditioning your brain for focus under pressure, right? So without grounding, you open psychic gates you can't close, right? So you want to make sure that you're grounded. You want to make sure that you have direction. And you want to make sure that you have the depth of what it is that you're getting into. Okay. So the techniques, astral offense and astral defense, right? So magical combat is applied will. Defense equals maintaining boundaries. Offense equals projecting intent. Let me repeat that one more time. Okay. So defense is maintaining boundaries. Offense is projecting intent. Okay. So offensive technique, right? So name vibration, right? Chant your magical name or sigil mantra to ignite energetic resonance. Again, the importance of having a sigil. Also, not going to lie, a magical name is extremely important. Okay. there's several reasons why a magical name is important. So I think the easiest way to kind of explain that is, one, it's something that embodies your power, your place, your ability. And having a sigil mantra, having your own sigil and your own mantra to ignite that energetic resonance, because it's the same thing. Think of it as like, so anytime you call on a demon, right? If you're calling on Belial, if you're calling on Lucifer, what do? You put out their sigil, you have a mantra for them or some type of invocation or evocation, and you recite that over and over and over again over that sigil, and you bring that entity into the ritual space, right? It's no different with yourself, right? We are spiritual beings. I don't understand this idea that people are incapable of, understanding their own power, right? So when we talk about our own personal power, right, people think I'm just talking about like the mundane power, like your ability to find a new job, your ability to exercise, your ability to eat right. Like, I mean, that's all power. That's all control that you can take. But at the end of the day, as much as we are material beings, we are also spiritual. And as spiritual beings, we have the ability to invoke and evoke ourselves. I don't understand why this is a foreign concept to so many people. So, having your magical name, having your sigil and a sigil mantra for yourself can do a lot for you. In the same way that you would be calling on an entity and something external to yourself. Your magical name, I would treat your magical name almost the same as you would treat your government name, to be completely honest. I would not use your magical name online. Exactly, TreeSap, exactly. Right? I would not use your magical name online. Your magical name is not a name that you want to start throwing around, right? If you operate inside of a coven, then it would be exclusively in your coven or people super close to that wouldn't use it against you. Your magical name. So don't come up with a magical name and be like, this is going to be my username. I'm going to play Call of Duty as there. So for example, Atius Dade, like Atius Dade is definitely a pseudonym. It's definitely, how I identify myself. It's who I believe I am. I mean, I am also, government name, but Dade embodies what I am, at this stage in my life. And as far as my magical name, Atius Dade is not my magical name. Right? So there's that, right? My magical name is, a name that I only use in ritual, like if it is needed. So it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. We're still going strong. We're still going strong. So yeah, again, magical name, your own personal sigil, and a sigil mantra for yourself, right? For different things, right? If you want to invoke different things in yourself, right? If you need power, have a mantra for power. If you need understanding, have a mantra for understanding. If you need clarity, have a mantra for clarity, right? Create these mantras to yourself, right? There is powers in a name, 100%. Yes, there is. So have these mantras for each thing that you want to invoke in yourself. Like there's nothing wrong with going into ritual with you. Like there's nothing wrong with you clearing off the altar, all the other sigils and shit like that, right? Getting a nice, pretty framed version, just printing on a piece of paper and slapping a frame of your own sigil, your sigil, right? And, going with that. Like, so, yeah, I'm not going to lie. The sigil that I use for myself is, pretty simplistic, I use it everywhere. That's that right there. It's Lucifer with the inverted pentagram. To me, that is, and obviously I got it tatted on the left hand. You know, I am forever going to be left-hand path. Like I'm never going to, I don't feel like I'm ever going to break away from that. That is like the left-hand path embodies who I am. And this to me is, this ink here isn't for, it's not for aesthetics. It's, to me, it's, this is act with myself. That's what this is. That's why I got it on my hand, visible to the entire world, almost impossible to hide that outside of putting a glove on and wearing a long sleeve shirt. Because it was coming to a point of fully embodying and understanding, like, okay, this is who I am. Right? Like this isn't just something I do. This is something that I live every day. I live this every day. This is every part of me. In every sense. I am the left-hand path. And I understand that there are some out there that, you know, get to a point where, you know, they don't align with the left-hand path anymore, or usually that happens because, you know, like they start to think that it becomes kind of like very edgelordy to say that you're a left-hand path, much like it was like back in the 90s and the early 2000s of people calling themselves Satanists, right? You know, it stopped having like a deeper meaning to it and became kind of like a fucking teenage edgelord thing. And, you know, I mean, I get comments like that all the time, like people calling me an edgelord, and it's like, dude, like I'm almost 40 years old. Been doing this shit since I was like 14. I've done the research. I've read the books. I mean, I've read the Bible. I've read the Quran. I've read the Torah. You know, I've dug into these things so deeply, and I have such an understanding, an internal understanding, not just the theory, but the applicable knowledge and the theologies that exist, that I fully believe that there is no other path in this world that can give people what the left-hand path gives people. Too old to be an edgelord, right? Hey, I had a wonderful compliment when I was paying for the hospital bill for our son when he was born. I can't remember how it got brought up, but I think I was talking about my other son, which is 11. And I think it was like I mentioned my other son. I have another son that's 11 years old, stuff like that. And like the girl behind the counter that was like assisting me kind of looks at me and is like, well, how old are you? And I'm like, well, how old do you think I'm? She's like, what, 28? And I'm like, thank you. It's like, no. So I don't think I look 28, but it was a very nice compliment. And yeah, exactly, Malaysian. I am too old to be an edgelord. Like all of this stuff isn't because I'm trying to be like, this is the thing. It's like you kind of start on this path because you want to be adversarial, and you know, it is the adversarial path, but I'm not doing this to be adversarial. Like I don't like, I do this because it is who I am. Right. I mean, I live this shit every day. Like for me, like when I talk to you guys about like, you know, the very unpopular subject of everything in your life is a ritual, and you know, everything you do day to day, you know, is a part of your path. You know, people don't like hearing that, right? Because it's not exciting, it's not mystical, it's nothing. But everything you do every day, like, is a part of your path. Like if you truly walk the path, if you truly live the path, then you know, it's in everything you do. It's not just in, you know, your rituals or your spells or your decorum or your decor in your house, right? It's it's everything you do. You know, you apply what you learn in this path to everything that you do, right? And that's what I do. I apply everything I do to everything I am. Everything left hand path is applied to every aspect of my life. So creating your own sigil is almost like a level up on that part. Creating your own mantra, creating your own sigil, doing these things are so important, right? So with that, sigil projection, visualize sigil as a flaming mark striking the interference source. Again, we're talking about offensive techniques, right? Like what my boss says, everything can be a learning experience and everything can be applied to everything else. 100%. It's 100% true. It's 100% true. Like everything can be applied to everything else. I mean, think about it. Why do you think, to that effect, Mr. Grimm, why do you think the book that they call the Bible for Business is Sang Tzu's Art of War? It has nothing to do with business, but everything to do with it at the same time. Right? If you want to be successful in business, Sang Tzu's Art of War. Read that, understand that, and apply it to everything you do. And, you know, me been years. Well, okay, I don't know what that means, but I mean, I guess good on you, I suppose, right? Also, disciple, do something with your name because your name looks like the name of the trolls that were in here because you got a little dash Y2D thing, you know. So, please fix your name, so that way you don't get confused at some point. Anyway, so sigil projection, right? So visualize sigil as a flaming mark striking the interference source. Symbolic weapons, sword, clarity, serpent, adaptability, flame, transmutation, understanding kind of like the differentials here, right? So again, these are symbolic weapons. These are symbolic pieces that we are going to use, right, in these offensive techniques, right? Sword is clarity. It is clear. Its direction is sharp, and it is forward moving. Serpent is adaptability, the ability to change and move into spaces, confined spaces, the ability to kind of move and pivot as needed. And flame is transmutation, is change. Now, defensive techniques, energetic shielding. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Energetic shielding, right? So visualize yourself encased in shadow, fire, or serpent coil. Repetition, nothing enters without my consent. Again, these are just simple examples that I'm providing, right? These aren't things that you inherently have to say specifically, but it gives you a starting point, right? Yeah, many of the recent changes YouTube has made. Yeah, I've noticed. Return to sender. Simple concept. A lot of us know what that is already, right? We've done these before, right? Imagine the hostile energy reversing course transmuted to neutral. Mirror techniques, visualize a mirror before you. Anything cast returns amplified, right? So the whole threefold law is kind of stupid, but you can amplify things that you send back if you so choose. Philosophical anchor for this, right? Every defense is also an attack, for it denies the enemy its victory. Devola, right? So avoid psychic paranoia. Most attacks are your own projections. Learn discernment. Okay? Psychic paranoia is the worst thing that you can do, because if we understand that astral combat is very psychological, right? Avoid psychic paranoia. Don't sit there and fall into the trap of thinking everybody's sending shit at you, right? Because then you allow things to affect you, right? It falls into, if you think about the whole concept, the whole statement, you live, like, I live in your head rent free. You are allowing somebody to have that level of control over you. You are permitting it. You are allowing it. You're allowing this to happen, right? So don't fall into that trap. Equality in the law of mirrors, right? So the battlefield reveals the warrior's reflection. You fight what you haven't mastered. Okay. So each attack mirrors internal conflict, insecurity, guilt, unresolved trauma. The adversary tests you by showing you your own darkness. Astral combat is therapy through the theater of will. Okay. So you can go into astral combat with yourself. This is what we're talking about here, right? Beware that when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become one. Nietzsche. What you resist persists. Jung. After any perceived conflict, write what emotions arose. Those are the true enemies. Okay? The warrior on the left-hand path doesn't exterminate demons. He negotiates, consumes, or integrates them. The demon of the astral are archetypes of the self. Important to understand these concepts. Okay? A lot of the time when we go into astral combat, what's happening is someone is projecting, and what that arises, or what arises inside of us, are our own insecurities, unresolved traumas, guilt. That projection is bringing those things out, and we're receiving that. So, in a sense, when you do go into astral combat, it is an opportunity for you to, I don't want to say cure, but begin the healing process of these things that the other person is using to attack you. Again, in the left-hand path, we show our own responsibility. We take heed in our own heart in what it is that we're dealing with, right? So in the left-hand path, when we are in astral combat, when we are being attacked, we have to understand that it's not all external, but there's a part of us that is being activated because of this projection. There's something that we haven't dealt with, and we now have this opportunity, that this part that hasn't been dealt with, to deal with it and remove the weakness. Being cursed constantly is such a pitfall. Even if you are having work thrown at you, the last thing you want to do is be stuck in a rut of victimhood. Yeah, I mean, the thing is I've known people to say that they're going to do shit to me, and just don't pay attention to it. I just go on with my life. Awesome. That looks great. Thank you. I just don't pay attention. Like, there's very few times where I've actually felt like I've needed to do something. Like, to defend myself against something somebody else is trying to do. And it's not because somebody doesn't know what they're doing, or that they're not powerful or anything like that. They just don't know what they're attacking. Right? Most people don't know how to engage in astral combat, offensively or offensively. Most people don't understand how it works. They just don't. And that's kind of like the pitfall for a lot of people, is that when people think about astral combat and stuff like that, or astral projection and stuff, like they're stuck on the fantasy. And this is the problem in the occult. Like, there are things, if you think about it, there are a lot of things in the occult that when we get into them, okay, that Hollywood presents in a very fantastical way. And it's not that there isn't truth to the things that are in Hollywood, but it's not to that. Yeah, disciple, that's fine. That's great. Right? Now you don't look like a troll. So we don't go to that level, right? We don't go into like that Hollywood level. There's truth to it, but not truth in the visuals, truth in the theory. And unfortunately, so many people like fucking Melinda, right? Again, I'm sorry to use her as an example, but I mean, she is the perfect example. She takes shit that she's seen in the fucking Conjuring films and then turns around and says, this is reality, this is real, and this is how these things happen, right? That you go to the astral world and you can physically be in the, it doesn't work that way. Too many people, or the craft, right? Stuff like that. They take these ideas, they take these concepts, and they make them fucking reality. Like, yeah, like, you know, like light as a feather, stiff as a board. I can actually fucking levitate. No, you can't. Like the amount of people that have come to me and said, I've done that. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like if you truly believe with all of your being and all of your everything that you are, that you've actually been able to do that, you've actually experienced it, you need to see a mental health professional. Now, here's the thing, right? This is where I become a little contradictory, and I am open to this. I'm open to my own flaws. I'm going to become slightly contradictory in this area. I do believe that there was a time that human beings as a whole were capable of so much more, magically speaking. Okay? I believe that there was a time that we were able to actually create physical manifestation, like almost instantaneously, of the work that we were doing. But over hundreds, if not thousands of years, we have lost that connection. And it is our own fault. DMT or shrooms with the wrong mindset. Yeah, 100%, right? And I don't think it's something that we can actually earn back. Like, I don't know if it was... sorry about that. We dropped for a second. So hopefully we're back. I hope so. OBS decided to disconnect for some fucking reason. But well, see, here's the thing. I'm theistic. Now, I look at Satan. I mean, the way that I look at Satan is I look at it as almost like a triptych. There's Lucifer, there's Samael, and there's Satan. Now, we could look at those as archetypes, and within those archetypes have, you know, specific meanings, things of that nature. But here's the other thing. I don't look at Satan, the devil, or anything like that in the sense of the Christian ideal. Like, I don't. I completely reject Abrahamic theology. That's the triptych of Abrahamic theology. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. I reject all three. And I don't speak in absolutes, right? So when you say the Satan is a title, right? The adversary, much like Christ, right? Christ is a title. The Christ, the anointed one, the chosen one. When we look at these things, when we look at the devil, they don't use the term devil because that's far too close to like that theology, that the Abrahamic theology. I think that is a derivative of Jin, if anything. I could be wrong in that, but to me, it's very, very close. I remember that, and everyone said it worked, but only when I was in on it. It never worked, right? So I do believe that there was a time in human history where we had access to these things. It was a possibility, right? I don't think it was always fantasy, but I think somewhere down the line, like we either lost the privilege of access, or broke it ourselves. It's not to say that magic and energy working doesn't work. It does, but it doesn't work the way that it used to, and it will never work the way it does in movies. And so understanding the frame of mind, right? You know, don't say that you've been able to do things that you know for a fact that you haven't been able to do. I don't believe in this whole your truth, my truth thing. There is only one truth, because truth is based on facts, and facts are not subjective. You cannot have multiple truths, because truth is not subjective, it is objective. Hence the reason it being called truth. Facts are not subjective, they are objective, hence the reason why they're called facts. Can these things change? Yes, of course they can. Facts do change. They have changed throughout history. Many times when we've considered things facts, and through time we've gotten new knowledge and testing theories, and we have proven certain facts incorrect and created new facts. But there is a process to changing facts. There is a long, egregious process that requires repeated results through multiple platforms. Meditation is an act. It's not a path. Meditation is the way. Pick your path. Meditation is a process. As far as my path, it's the left-hand path. Accountability, responsibility, personal power. Self-deification. Not in the literal sense. Meditation is just art. See, you know, what I dislike about people doing this stuff, I don't know you. How's it going, folks? I don't know you. But the fact that you come into a show and you speak in absolutes and trying to flex like this idea that somehow you are, again, folks, this is enlightenment, right? This person here believes themselves to be enlightened. This is why we did, no, not a troll, just a jackass. This is why I did the show on the myth of enlightenment. This person believes themselves to be enlightened. And because this person believes themselves to be enlightened, they will feel the necessity to come into a conversation, and instead of having a conversation, to forcibly try to flex their ideas and say, in a very subtle way, that they know more than everyone else. This behavior is enlightened behavior. This individual finds themselves to be enlightened and knowledgeable. And instead of coming in and saying, this is what I think, this is my experience, this is how I've done things, they come in and decide to say, this is the way that you need to do things, and this is what you need to choose. And throwing around cryptic half sentences because it makes them feel mysterious and powerful. This, my friends, my lovely demons, this is why I dedicated an entire episode called The Myth of Enlightenment. Because this is what enlightenment looks like and behaves like in modern society, in Western esotericism. See? I think I rest my case. Well, that's the thing, right? It's like there's no the only full sentence or full thought that this individual, I'm going to call him 2025 because everything else is, you know, the only full thought that was put there was the Satan comment. And I appreciate that one. That's kind of going into a conversation. It's still very matter of fact, but it's still the beginning of a conversation, right? It gives context, it gives an idea, it gives a supporting value, right? That's a good conversation starter. When we start getting into these short half sentences, I didn't call you names either. I am merely commenting on your behavior and the style in which you are typing your questions, statements, therefore going forward. It comes across as narcissistic. It comes across as neo-enlightenment. It comes across as matter of fact. It comes across as this is the only thing that exists. This is the only thing that is real. And anything and everything else that you're saying is wrong. When you sit there and you say meditation is the way, pick your path, that's only 10%. Take no thought. What do you expect? Like in your mind, you understand the context of what it is that you're saying. And for you, you believe that you're being very deep by saying nothing at all. But the problem is, the way that it comes across is the complete opposite of what you're hoping for. I'm not calling you names. I'm merely commenting on your perceived behavior in my chat. And it fits perfectly because there are so many that do the same thing. Anyway, let's continue, right? First and foremost, I need to clock into work because, yeah, it's about that time, right? So while I'm live, I'm clocking into work. But I do want to continue this. I'm not done, and I'm tired of leaving you guys like with unfinished episodes. So there's still more that needs to be said here. And so I want to continue and say more, right? I want to finish what we started, right? Back home from Jerusalem and enlightened, right? Exactly. Make sure I punched in. Yes, I am in. Make sure I got to at home. Yes, I am. Okay, good. Now, I got to do all of this. Like, we got to finish this episode in about 15 minutes, guys. Because that's about the amount of time. Same. He clocks out in bed. Right? There you go. Right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. Right? I just need to make sure that, like, yeah. So we got 15 minutes as of right now. So the integration from combat to sovereignty, right? So the point of astral conflict is not victory, it's integration and mastery, right? So when you cease reacting, you've already won. Transmute energy, art, sex, ritual, meditation, right? Meditation's a thing, not the way, but it is something that we do and it is very helpful. We'll say that, right? Channel aggression into creation, right? Luciferianism teaches the evolution from reactive will to sovereign will. Crowley's true will is archived or achieved when one acts without resistance or inner division. Okay? Practical practices that can be done for this. Journaling ritual experiences. Like, people underestimate the power of journaling. Journaling is an amazing thing, right? Energy transmutation through visualization. Inhale energy, visualize it as flame at your solar plexus. Exhale peace, right? So the warrior who has attained stillness is unassailable. Tao Te Ching. Salve et coagula, dissolve and rebuild, alchemical maxim. Okay? The responsibility of power. With awareness comes consequence. The left-hand path rejects moral hypocrisy, but enforces personal accountability. You have no divine scapegoat. Every act returns. Never use astral influence for ego, obsession, or petty revenge. It poisons the source. Power without restraint collapses into self-destruction. Okay, the magician's first victim is always himself. Elphus Levi. The strong do what they will, but the wise know why. Michael Ford. View combat as the testing ground of maturity, not an excuse for paranoia or violence. Understand that the astral plane, the psychic, how do we want to put this? The psychic field, the astral plane, is not a literal place. It's not a place that you go and there's combat or there's this or there's that. It is another perspective, another level of awareness, another plane of consciousness. When you go into astral combat, you're not going to a place, but you're dealing with yourself. So, with that, that is going to be the end of today's show. I don't know what's going on, but all my stuff seems to be shutting down. My camera just decided to shit on me for one reason or another. I mean, it's still working. I can still see it, but apparently my software and my computer are just like, nope, we're not doing this. So I guess that is my computer telling me it is over. It is done. Right? So I'm there. Okay. Oh, look, camera's back. Okay. So with that, thank you all for being here. I do hope that this was entertaining, enjoyable. I hope you guys learned something. Yeah, you guys are fucking amazing. It has indeed shit the bed. Yeah, it did, right? So anyway, thank you all. You guys are fucking amazing. And as always, kill thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next one. Peace the fuck out.